Greetings, hi, hello, welcome to and/or welcome back to my YouTube page. I'm Fire Lotus Witch, and today we are talking about something that I have not really discussed in a very long time. What are psychic vampires? Are they actually dark parasites that just go around zapping you of all the energy? No, they're not. That's just some horrible new age spiritual bullshit. So grab your tea. This is currently coffee for me because my brain is not liking the moon energy, the solar energy, and all the other grand energy that is currently happening leading up to this blood moon eclipse. So get comfortable and buckle the fuck up, all right? So, what is a psychic vampire? In the new age spiritual sense, it's basically a parasitic person who goes around zapping you of all the energy, right? In reality, it's the exact fucking opposite, okay? Psychic vampires are a person. Have you ever heard of somebody who has an autoimmune disorder? Okay. I wish I've gotten to the point where I can like hold up shit right here, but I'm not there yet. Getting there. So go ahead and pause this and just quick Google, which I hate suggesting because Google's horrible for research. But look up what an autoimmune disorder is now that you're back. So you're like, Lotus, how the fuck does that and psychic vampires go together? Because psychic vampires are a person who is born with the innate ability to not produce the amount of energy that they need to run these meat suits that we have. Which in my head, it's a psychic autoimmune, okay? They're not evil. I mean, can you have evil people? Yes, just like you can have bad people or evil people, there's also good people, right? So psychic energy vampires, or for the sake of this, that way I don't get tongue-tied, psyvamps, they're a person who is born with a psychic or an energetic autoimmune. Did you also know that they don't just feed off of negative energy, positive energy, energy in general? They can feed off of emotions. They can feed off a very wide range of emotions. They can feed off of different types of energy. So you got psychokinetic energy, right? You got energy that trees give off, that plants give off. Specifically, I don't know if this is a thing anymore, but a lot of the times they were in the rave communities and the partying communities. Why? What do you do at a bar or a club? You dance, right? You let off all of that ambition and lustful energy. All of those are topics that they can tap into. Did you also know that the majority of the time, they don't actually realize that they themselves are psychic vampires? It actually takes them meeting another person who is awake and or aware that they have it in order for the other person to click. It's this weird aspect where it's almost like the other person has the missing key that unlocks the door to help them realize that. And you're like, Lotus, why is that important? Well, say I'm a natural born witch. Does that automatically put me up here versus all the other witches? No. Why? Because even though I can tap into energy, you have to hone it in. Psychics. Anybody can be a psychic if they really put the time, dedication, and energy. Do I believe that there are certain people that are just naturally born to be more intuitive to the psychic aspect, the spiritual aspect? Yes, fuck yes. Just like you can have certain people pick up a paintbrush, a basketball, an instrument for the very first time, not having any training behind it, and know how to play that shit like Picasso, right? What do they do after that? They have to go through the process of honing that ability in. So yes, you can have natural born witches. Lotus, since we're on the topic, natural born witches, does that mean I have to have somebody who practiced magic before me? No! Also, with that slight tidbit, you do realize folk practices, they don't consider it witchcraft. So a lot of us, especially if you grew up in the South or had any relatives in the South or any other parts where there are folk practices, they practice witchcraft. It just wasn't labeled witchcraft, all right? But in general, say in certain parts of Appalachia and other cultures as well, in other places, there's a belief that spirit in one way or another can bless you with the ability to communicate with spirits. There's things like if you were born with a veil over your eyes. There's multiple other things that if the baby is born that way, and the veil, I could be wrong, I think it's there's something basically born over their face, so they come out with a veil. Thus, being able to, if they hone it in, tap into the spiritual world and be a medium or a psychic or anything like that. Have I ever went through that? No. The only closest thing that I could get is I almost died when I was younger. By the time they got me to the hospital, I was blue in the face, and they literally thought I was dead, but I was not. So, other than that, no. Now, with that being said, can you have, or can you be born with the natural ability to tap into magic and wield it? Basically, magic, if I use that term, is basically the energy around us. Yes, 100%. You just have to be awakened and tap into it. Now, ADHD, squirrel back in the box. Let's go back to psychic vampires. It's the exact same way. Once you learn to hone that in, you can go months without feeding. You can go weeks without feeding. Not to mention, there are also amazing facts about psychic vampires as well. Did you also know that there are some, I personally believe a lot of doctors, therapists are themselves psychic vampires. They may not know it. They may not know it, but they are. And the reason I say that is because there are some people that can actually help you by taking certain things and absorbing them away from you and out of you. No, I'm not saying go track down your local psychic vampire and see if they can take your anti-depression or depression and anxiety away. I wish it was that simple. But they can say, I've known one who they dealt with mourning. As in they could lift the effects or feeling of mourning and that heaviness that has. There's also this weird correlation behind sin eaters. If you don't know what that is, look into that rabbit hole of a thing. Sin eaters, and there's a couple other aspects where a lot of spiritual people are not really talking about it anymore. And also with the psychic vampire, you can also have the exact opposite. One of my exes, I called him an energetic waterfall because if you were to tap into his energy, it's basically just free-flowing, non-stop, pure energy. It's fucking wild. So yes, you can have opposites of that. But, again, like I mentioned earlier, psychic vampires, if they do understand what they do, again, it's not just human energy. Trees, pets, dogs, crystals, rocks, anything that gives off some type of energy, they can feed off of it. And what do I mean by feeding off of this? Now, the way that I'm about to describe this, I don't know if everybody is like this, but basically imagine small little tentacles that come out of your back, right? On an energetic level, right? And yeah, they just kind of poop, kind of like a mosquito, right? But again, a lot of them don't realize they're even doing it and they're not in maliciously like trying to just suck you dry. Honestly, if you want to get into that parasitic aspect, there's a lot of them in the witchy and spiritual community, the people that are constantly stirring up drama and gossip and drama llamas. Those are the actual parasites. Because have you ever hung out with one of them? How do you feel right after that? Completely drained. Exactly. Okay. There's also a social aspect to this. I know a lot of them, or I've met some that they love to go to raves. They love to go clubbing. They love to go in the cities. Why? Because what is a city? It's constantly bustling, right? Every time we move our bodies, this is also the reason that when you do a circle or triangle or pyramid or whatever the fuck shape you want to work in, when we dance around and, you know, we start flinging our, yeah, you're building up that psychokinetic energy in a bubble. As above, so below, right? When you, apparently I'm just giving you a lot of lessons. When you cast a circle, right? This is the perfect example. When you cast a circle, right? You are creating, so this box is outside of time and space, okay? As above, so below. It creates this bubble, this vessel. You moving around and exerting your body, you are building and building that energy, but it's, again, it hits the top and goes back down, right? You're building it, that way when you cut the circle open, your spell work, your intentions explode out into the universe with like the force of a fucking rocket. That is the point. Energetically speaking, cities are that. They are constantly a battery source. So thus, walking out in the midnight, right? Walking out in the day. Again, these are not like the fucking vampiric shit that you've heard of. But there's this negative aspect around it, and it drives me crazy because as a practicing witch and a channeling medium, we're supposed to be a community that is very open, and instead it's kind of like the church. And that just doesn't sit well with me. So do your unbiased research, okay, and use critical thinking. Not to mention, and I'm sorry for all of my love and lighter fluffy bunnies, I'm coming for you with this one. You are so blinded and so jaded because, to quote The Craft of all movies, nature is loving and cruel. Magic is not either black nor white, good or bad, or even fucking gray, okay? What it is the heart of the witch, okay? So if you are a crude, evil, angry, upset person constantly, well, there you go. You see what I'm saying? The reason I bring this to your attention is because you going in life only focusing on the positive and only positive vibrations, y'all. You seriously need to look up the negative and positive aspects of the energy around us because you need both, okay? For your body to run healthily, you need both. It's just like this liquid that I'm drinking, coffee. or water. If I drink too much of it, I can drown myself. If I don't drink enough, I'll shrivel up and die. You cannot go through your life constantly just being in the light, okay? There's a reason when the sun goes down, the moon comes up. The moon, just like us, go through phases where it's completely dark. And then what happens? The light comes back. You cannot expose yourself to only love and light because, I'm sorry, you're just delusional and you're trying to use it to escape the hellscape of a society and age of humans that we're living in right now. And that also creates other aspects of, oh, well, that doesn't involve me. No, negative vibrations, which means you're ignoring it and allowing it to continue. Okay? So I don't trust you. I don't trust you as far as I can throw you. Life is about balance. Life is about temperance, okay? Now, true enough, there is no fine definition of that. Your balance and my balance are two completely other things. Mirror opposite of this, right? Perfect example, this eclipse. Every single time the eclipse happens, whether it's lunar or solar, so many fucking spiritual people, I will label them new age spiritualists, and including witches, come forward. No, don't manifest. Don't do this. Don't do that. Why? Well, Lotus, it's negative, says who? Well, Lotus, it's destructive. It's chaotic. How do you think land is made? A fucking volcanic eruption has to erupt. It cools down or hits water. Boom! You have new fresh land. Transformation is rough. Transformation is chaotic. Think of how a diamond is. Why do you think we use the cauldron as a symbol for transformation? The phoenix, it has to literally catch on fire and burn itself down to be reborn. Okay? If you can't handle the heat, stay the fuck out of the kitchen. Just because you don't like that chaotic energy, just because you can't ground that out, does not mean that you need to project your own shit onto everybody out there. And you may be thinking, Lotus, that's kind of harsh. No, it's not. If you have the confidence to record yourself as a teacher or a mentor in witchcraft or spirituality, and then you can't justify the difference of this is something you like and this is something I don't like, you pressing that onto them, saying it's just like, no offense, my Wiccans, because again, not all witches are the same, not all pagans are the same, not all Christians are the same, not all Wiccans are the same. But your beliefs are your beliefs. Your practice is your practice. My practice is my practice. You cannot govern over that. And it is the exact same thing that Christians do when they come up to us and tell us we need to go find the Lord. Also, if there are any Christians out there, you do realize there's a lot of magic in the Bible, and there are a lot of folk practitioners who actively use the Bible. And as a channeling medium myself, I've talked to God and Jesus on multiple occasions. They're doing just fine. I'm doing just fine. You see what I'm saying? It's all about balance. It's all about temperance. But we are never going to evolve. This is just like shadow work. I've had people literally that have been alive longer than I have, which thus means they've been practicing longer than I've been alive. And I'm 31 going on 32. And fucking, they're like, well, I was just told that I'm not a real witch because I don't do shadow work. Do you honestly think the witches of your grandchildren, do you honestly think back in the 1600s, 1400s, 1300s, 1200s, 1100s, do you think they're worried about their shadow work? No, because that's a new concept. And I'll fight that until the day I die, okay? Shadow work's not for everybody. Your negative approach on something that you don't fully understand, that's called ignorance, okay? I just wanted to say that. And again, I am not saying that I am the one and all, the holy grand of knowledge, because I'm wrong in a lot of things, which is why I don't make videos on things that I don't fully understand, okay? I fell down a nerdy thing when I was younger about psychic vampires, okay? But yeah, welcome to this witchy TED Talk. Let me know if you have any questions, if it fascinates you, if it enrages you. Let me know. Also, how are you feeling with this eclipse coming up? Because, oh my god, I'm like mentally okay, physically okay, my brain not wanting to fucking function right. But yeah, as always, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that icon, send this to a Discord, send this to somebody else who may find it fascinating, alright? And follow along if you want actual witchcraft knowledge without the fluffy bunny shit. Okay? But yeah, seriously though, let me know if you want documentaries or anything like that. I'm pretty sure I can find some. But yeah, and as always, I hope you're having a magical day. You're wanted, you're loved, you are needed. You have a prime, a reason, and a place to be here. Okay? So get up and tap into your magic, because you're all magic.